Ethan Cole said, "Why is my badge red?" The turnstile flashed denial, and the lobby swallowed the sound like a threat. An email pinged his phone with a subject line that burned. It read, "Confirm participation." He opened a thread he had never seen and saw his name under Deal Coordination. The files hinted at mergers stitched in shadows. Ethan Cole said, "I did not sign this." A guard watched without blinking, as if waiting for consent. The elevator doors reflected him in a fractured chrome halo. Messages stacked like falling bricks, each colder than the last. Ethan Cole said, "Who added me to this chain?" A calendar invite appeared for a midnight call titled Integration Suite. His pulse hammered like a stampede behind glass. He scrolled and found price targets tuned to crush rivals. Ethan Cole said, "This is a setup." The lobby's quiet felt staged, too careful. Ara's number rang and cut. He saw a security camera tilt, as if nodding. Ethan Cole said, "Someone wants my prints on the knife." Ethan Cole said, "Who invited me to a midnight sweep?" He backed into an alcove and opened attachments like a lock picker. The files mapped secret mergers that braided competitors into one voice. Ethan Cole said, "This kills choice and buries jobs." He traced the pattern of shell firms that bought silence with options. A legal memo claimed efficiencies while disguising a chokehold. Ethan Cole said, "They will say I led this." Names appeared and vanished like stage cues. Calendar notes hinted at code names that sounded clean. "Ethan Cole," said Valkyrie, "Horizon, Mergione." The thread named him coordinator for a meeting he never joined. He searched his sent folder and found drafts he never wrote. Ethan Cole said, "They ghosted my fingerprints with access logs." His badge still failed, as if the building had judged him already. A chill crawled up his sleeves while the drizzle sharpened. Ethan Cole said, "If I breathe wrong, they own the air." Ara's door cracked open, and a voice did not invite him in. Victoria Hale said, "Compliance will handle your access." Her smile looked stamped, not worn. Ethan Cole said, "My name is on documents I never touched." She slid a folder as if it were harmless. The pages showed timelines that docked into his calendar. Victoria Hale said, "You were proactive per notes." He saw notes he never wrote, all tidy, all signed. Ethan Cole said, "These are forged." The room kept a neutral scent like erased ink. A clock ticked with courtroom rhythm. Victoria Hale said, "We value integrity here." The word, integrity, sounded like a coded threat. Ethan felt the floor slope toward an exit he could not see. Victoria Hale said, "Let us verify your story." The verify hung like a ceiling hook. Ethan Cole said, "I will keep copies." The folder did not follow him. Mark Ruiz met him by the printers, with a whisper that shook. Mark Ruiz said, "Lay low, Ethan." He looked at the floor like it accused him. Ethan Cole said, "They put me in the chain." Mark's hand hovered over the cancel button like a confession. A print job with code names sputtered out and died. Mark Ruiz said, "Must be a mix-up." The toner smelled like burned snow. Ethan Cole said, "You knew about Mergione." Mark's throat clicked, and the printer woke again. Pages showed targets circled in neat red. Mark Ruiz said, "Please stop asking." The hallway felt narrower with every word. Ethan Cole said, "Who asked you to watch me?" The printer beeped for paper it already had. Mark Ruiz said, "We all need to survive." Outside, drizzle hardened to needles. Lena Cole said, "Come home now." Her voice braided fear and resolve through the phone. Ethan Cole said, "They forged my trail." A siren slid down the street like a blade. He ducked under an awning where the wind kept receipts dancing. Lena Cole said, "Delete nothing and back up everything." He pictured their rent and the cracked mug by the sink. Ethan Cole said, "If I copy files, they will see." She held her breath long enough to make him count. Lena Cole said, "Do it clean and move fast." A bus hissed and smeared headlights across his shoes. Ethan Cole said, This started before I arrived. He felt watched by windows that never blinked. Lena Cole said, then finish what they started and prove it. Ethan Cole said, I was not supposed to be here, but they forced me into it. His reflection in the subway window looked thinner than memory. Lena Cole said, you have to eat, Ethan, you look hollow. The train screeched through tunnels, throwing sparks like nervous laughter. He remembered his daughter's drawing taped on the fridge, the one with 3 stick figures holding hands. Ethan Cole said, if they erase me, she'll think I quit. His knuckles tapped the steel pole, counting seconds against the clatter. Lena Cole said, you're stronger than this company. Her voice cracked through static, trembling but fierce. He thought of bills stacked on the counter, envelopes stamped in red. Ethan Cole said, they think silence is loyalty, but silence kills me. The train jolted, and his phone slipped almost to the floor. At breakfast, Emily Cole asked, Daddy, why don't you smile anymore? Ethan Cole forced a grin that cracked like old paint. The cereal went soggy between her pauses. Lena Cole said, he's just busy, sweetheart. The kitchen light flickered, and the faucet dripped like a clock. Ethan Cole said, I'll take you to the park this weekend. His daughter's eyes, wide and 7 years old, held doubt he couldn't heal. Emily Cole said, promise. His chest tightened as if contracts signed themselves inside him. Lena Cole said, keep your voice steady, Ethan. He touched his daughter's hair, the only thread holding him upright. Ethan Cole said, I promise. The word felt heavier than any evidence. Ethan sat at the park bench while Emily ran toward the swings. Wow. Lena Cole said, she feels your distance. His tie loosened as if it strangled him all week. Ethan Cole said, I don't want her to see me break. Birds scattered when a dog barked, like secrets too fragile to hold. Lena's hand brushed his, grounding him with warmth. Ethan Cole said, if I tell her the truth, she'll never forgive me for staying silent. Lena Cole said, she needs your presence, not your excuses. He watched Emily pump her legs high, chasing a sky that still felt open. Ethan Cole said, I envy her belief in flight. Lena's voice softened, then let her believe you can fight. The wind lifted his undone tie like a warning. At night, Ethan spread documents across the coffee table. Lena Cole said, you should burn these before they burn us. He shook his head, paper trembling in his hands. Ethan Cole said, if I destroy them, I prove them right. The TV played muted news, faces moving like ghosts. Lena's eyes followed the screen instead of the files. Ethan Cole said, every number ties to another name. She whispered, and every name leads back to you. He looked at her, eyes bloodshot, lips bitten raw. Ethan Cole said, if I run, our life collapses anyway. She drew her knees to her chest, blanket wrapped around her shoulders like armor. Ethan Cole said, I can't stop now. Ethan's father, Henry Cole, said, you're chasing fire with bare hands. His old voice rattled over the phone. Ethan Cole said, I can't look away. The kitchen smelled of reheated coffee and fear. Henry Cole said, when I fought the mill, I lost more than wages. Ethan's silence carried the weight of inheritance. Lena Cole mouthed, hang up. Ethan Cole said, this isn't just my fight. His father coughed, the sound of rusted lungs. Henry Cole said, don't let them bury your name. Ethan's chest ached, as if carrying generations. The line clicked empty, leaving him with nothing but static and resolve. The conference room glowed like a stage he was not invited to. Ethan Cole said, why is this door locked during my slot? Through frosted glass he counted shapes moving without him. Victoria Hale said, scheduling conflict, please send notes. Her smile on chat felt colder than the AC. Ethan pressed his ear to the seam and caught a name he feared. Mark Ruiz said, we should finalize merger on allocations. His stomach clenched as applause fluttered like paper birds. Ethan Cole said, they are cutting me out to frame me. A calendar alert pinged him to take minutes for a meeting he did not attend. He stared at his reflection in the glass and saw a ghost. Ethan Cole said, "If I vanish here, they own the story." Compliance summoned him with a form that smelled like trouble. Ethan Cole said, "What policy did I violate today?" The officer would not meet his eyes and tapped a clause on retaliation. Victoria Hale said, "We received concerns about your behavior." He tasted metal like a nosebleed that had not started. Ethan Cole said, "My badge failed because someone set it to fail." The officer slid a pen that felt heavier than a gavel. Victoria Hale said, "Sign that you understand expectations." The word "understand" sounded like kneel. Ethan Cole said, "I will not sign to bless a lie." Silence stretched until the clock clicked louder than reason. He left the room with his hands open and empty. By the shred bins, he found confetti that used to be truth. Ethan Cole said, "You shredded finance forecasts for Q3. A junior analyst froze like a deer in audit headlights. The pieces showed fragments of code names and targets. Ethan Cole said, "You can keep the shredder, I will keep the bag." He scooped paper snow into a folder as if saving ashes. Mark Ruiz said, "Let it go, Ethan." The voice behind him carried more warning than care. Ethan Cole said, "Tell me who ordered this sweep." The bin hummed like a muted alarm as teeth chewed blank pages. He walked away with the fragments beating against the folder like wings. And his desk phone rang with a voice that had press in it. Nora Quinn said, "I cover antitrust, and your name keeps surfacing." Ethan Cole said, "My name is Bait." Her pause felt practiced, like a held breath on record. Nora Quinn said, "Then show me why it is bait." He looked at the fragments and saw a map of intent. Ethan Cole said, "If I talk, I burn my life." Nora Quinn said, "If you do not, they burn the market." The words weighed like scales, no court could balance. Ethan Cole said, "I will send nothing from company networks." She agreed with a tone that understood fire. He wrote her number on paper, not in memory. That night he checked access logs that should have been locked. Ethan Cole said, "Someone used my credentials at 12:03 a.m. The line item pointed to a conference room he never entered. He felt the world tilt like a bad elevator. Lena Cole said, "Screenshot everything and duplicate it offline." He saved proofs to an encrypted drive that hummed like a secret. Ethan Cole said, "They forged presents to stitch me into motive." He pictured handcuffs clicking like staplers. Lena Cole said, "Then you break their seam before it tightens." He breathed once and named each step like a prayer. Ethan Cole said, "Copy, verify, shelter, move." The stairwell echoed with voices that should not know his name. Ethan Cole said, "Who told you I was coordinator?" Mark Ruiz stepped from shadow with eyes that carried shame. Mark Ruiz said, "I was told to confirm it or lose my job." The words landed like stones in water, rippling outward. Ethan Cole said, "You swore you had my back." Mark's shoulders bent as if under invisible weight. Mark Ruiz said, "I thought protecting myself would protect you too." Ethan saw the lie and the truth bound together like rope. His chest burned hotter than the stairwell bulbs. Ethan Cole said, "You sold me for silence." The stairwell door slammed behind them like judgment. Victoria Hale invited him to a dinner that felt like an ambush. Ethan Cole said, "I do not dine with ghosts." She raised her glass as if baptizing him in pretense. Victoria Hale said, "We reward loyalty generously." Her earrings caught candlelight, sharp as blades. Ethan Cole said, "What you call loyalty looks like blackmail." She leaned closer, perfume masking rot. Victoria Hale said, "You have access to files that matter more than truth." His fork stayed untouched, his pulse louder than silverware. Ethan Cole said, "You will not trap me at this table." She smiled like someone measuring a coffin. At midnight, his apartment buzzed with a blocked call. Nora Quinn said, "Your name just leaked in filings." Ethan Cole said, "They planted me in public record." The ceiling hummed with pipes like warning drums. Nora Quinn said, "The document lists you as lead counsel." His throat locked as if swallowing stones. Ethan Cole said, "I never touched counsel files." Her breath came sharp, quick. Nora Quinn said, "This is beyond corporate. It's federal bait." He pressed the phone harder to his ear, heat in his temples. Ethan Cole said, "Then they are framing me for crimes that outlive jobs." Silence on the line told him she understood too well. The parking garage carried the smell of oil and fear. Ethan Cole said, "Show me who sent you." A man in a tailored coat leaned against a black sedan. An unknown executive said, "The company protects itself first." His voice flowed smooth, like rehearsed charm. Ethan Cole said, "So you destroy anyone who resists?" The executive's eyes glinted under sodium lamps. Unknown executive said, "Call it pruning, not destruction." Ethan's fists curled, his breath steaming in the cold. Ethan Cole said, "One day your mask will slip." The man tapped his watch like time itself was on his side. Tires squealed in the distance, sealing the warning. He spread shredded fragments across the kitchen floor like puzzle pieces. Ethan Cole said, "These scraps hold the map they fear." Lena Cole knelt beside him, her hair loose, eyes fierce. Lena Cole said, "Then rebuild it before they burn the rest." His fingers trembled as pieces formed names of rivals, crushed. Ethan Cole said, "Every cut line is a confession." Lena's hand steadied his shaking palm. Lena Cole said, "Do not stop, Ethan, not now." The clock on the wall ticked louder, matching his heartbeat. Ethan Cole said, "When this puzzle is whole, they will know I was never alone." The courthouse steps felt heavier than stone. Ethan Cole said, "If I walk in, there is no turning back." Reporters swarmed like gulls chasing scraps. "Pain?" Nora Quinn said, "They will smear you before you speak." He tightened his grip on the folder that pulsed like a heartbeat. Ethan Cole said, "The truth does not wait for permission." Cameras flashed, blinding and endless. A protester shouted his name, spitting rage he did not earn. Ethan Cole said, "Let them hear me, even if it ruins me." His shoes struck each step with the weight of chains and hope. Inside, the hearing room buzzed like a hive. Ethan Cole said, "All I wanted was to work in peace." The judge's gavel silenced the air like a gunshot. Victoria Hale said, "This man is disgruntled and reckless." Her words carried polish sharpened into knives. Ethan Cole said, "Look at the numbers, they do not lie." Screens lit up with spreadsheets he had pieced together. Victoria Hale said he forged them to cover his failure. Gasps echoed like broken glass. Ethan Cole said, "I risk my life to bring this forward." The judge's pen scratched, indifferent yet final. The cross-examination came like a storm. Corporate counsel said, "Did you not attend the integration sweep at midnight?" Ethan Cole said, "No, my credentials were forged." They held up logs with his name stamped in bold. Ethan Cole said, "I saved the real logs. They show manipulation." Murmurs rippled like restless water. Corporate counsel said, "So your defense is that the system lies?" Ethan Cole said, "Yes, and it lies for profit." His voice cracked but carried weight. Lena Cole watched from the gallery, hands clasped like prayer. Ethan Cole said, "If I fall, at least truth stands." He unveiled the puzzle of shredded fragments taped together. Ethan Cole said, "These are the confessions they tried to erase." The room leaned forward like gravity shifted. Names of rival firms bled across reconstructed sheets. Victoria Hale said, "Objection, fabricated." The judge narrowed his eyes at the paper seams. Ethan Cole said, "Every tear is proof of destruction." His voice shook but carried like thunder. Nora Quinn whispered to her recorder, capturing every word. Ethan Cole said, "This is the spine of their scheme." Silence swallowed the chamber before applause cracked faintly. The climax erupted when voices overlapped in chaos. Ethan Cole said, I have nothing left to lose. Victoria Hale shouted, you will bury this company in lies. Reporters scribbled, flashes fired like lightning. Ethan Cole said, you buried workers and rivals to feed profit. The gavel pounded, each strike like a drumbeat of war. His pulse surged, louder than the noise around him. Ethan Cole said, today the silence ends. The courtroom froze, a snapshot of ruin and defiance. The world outside could never rewind this moment. Morning broke like a truce that no one signed. Ethan Cole said, the verdict is not the ending. He walked past headlines that argued without breath. Nora Quinn said, your testimony cracked their shell. The city hummed, unsure whether to cheer or hiss. Ethan Cole said, cracks are not collapse. Regulators filed through revolving doors like migrating birds. Lena Cole said, we keep living, even while they spin. He touched the railing as if checking the world for pulse. Mark Ruiz texted an apology that felt late and heavy. Ethan Cole said, some friendships die of small cuts. A coffee vendor slid him a cup and did not ask for money. He paid anyway, as if debts could still be counted. Ethan Cole said, truth costs more than the receipt shows. The company announced leadership changes with polished sorrow. Victoria Hale said, we remain committed to integrity. The word echoed like a joke told at a funeral. Ethan Cole said, they cut branches to save the trunk. Stock tickers twitched, pretending not to flinch. Nora Quinn said, shareholders want a throat to blame. The board offered a settlement that smelled like hush. Ethan Cole said, I will not sell the echo of my name. His lawyer frowned at the math and nodded at the mirror. Lena Cole said, we choose the roof we sleep under. He thought of Emily's drawings taped against the fridge light. Ethan Cole said, she deserves a father who can look back. The press release refreshed itself, swapping nouns for smoke. Silence filled the spaces their statement could not reach. At home, boxes waited like questions he had not answered. Lena Cole said, we might have to move. The lease renewal glared from the table. Ethan Cole said, I will find work that is not a trap. Calls returned with polite silence and careful excuses. Nora Quinn said, your name scares the timid and the guilty. He smiled without humor and brewed the cheap coffee. Ethan Cole said, courage does not pay utilities. Emily ran in with a school flyer about a fair. Emily Cole said, can you come this time? The word yes felt like a door he could still open. Ethan Cole said, yes, I will be there. The boxes did not shrink, but the room warmed a degree. He stacked the papers he kept and let the rest go. Regulators called with voices like gravel and ink. Investigator said, your materials accelerated our case. Ethan Cole said, do not let them trade fines for permission slips. He heard keyboards instead of applause. Nora Quinn said, antitrust will dig deeper now. He remembered the spreadsheets like scars that learned to speak. Ethan Cole said, make the pattern visible, not just the headline. The investigator promised subpoenas without smiles. Lena Cole said, do you trust them to finish it? He stared at the cracked paint above the door. Ethan Cole said, I trust consequences when they arrive late. The line clicked, leaving an ache shaped like hope. He filed the call notes with the rest of his stubborn proof. Weeks later, the market shivered as the first consent orders dropped. Nora Quinn said, they will unwind pieces they swore were sacred. Ethan Cole said, sacred is whatever money blesses. A former colleague emailed 3 words that mattered. Mark Ruiz said, I am sorry. He stared at the screen until letters became weather. Ethan Cole said, I will not forgive the machine, but I can forgive a man. Emily tugged his sleeve and pointed at painted faces on balloons. Emily Cole said, race me to the booth. He ran, laughing like someone who remembered airflow. Lena Cole said, you look lighter. The day held, not bright, but honest enough to carry. The press called it closure, but the city only exhaled halfway. Ethan Cole said, "Justice is a ledger that never balances." He stood at the window, counting cranes like quiet verdicts. Nora Quinn said, "Your name will anchor this case." Her voice held pride and a warning braided together. Ethan Cole said, "Names wash out, harm lingers." A message pinged with a link to the consent orders. Lena Cole said, "Do we get our lives back now?" He tasted relief and rust in the same breath. Ethan Cole said, "We get the next page, not a new book." He met Mark Ruiz on a bench that faced the river instead of each other. Mark Ruiz said, "I carried fear like a pass card." Ethan Cole said, "Fear opened more doors than truth." Gull cries stitched holes in their silence. Mark Ruiz said, "I will testify again if they ask." Ethan nodded without softening the pass. Ethan Cole said, "You can help repair what you helped break." Mark's eyes watered, unclaimed by wind. Ethan Cole said, "I accept your apology, not their design." The river kept moving like a promise to no one. A message arrived from an unknown address with no greeting. Unknown executive said, "You won a round. The game survives." Ethan Cole said, "Games end when rules return." The cursor blinked like a dare. Unknown executive said, "Markets forget, investors forgive." He saved the email to a folder named Aftermath. Ethan Cole said, "Forgetting is a luxury I do not lease." He imagined the sedan under sodium lamps, patient as gravity. Unknown executive said, "Enjoy your pedestal. It rots quickly." Ethan closed the laptop and chose the sound of his daughter laughing. He walked Emily to school, the crosswalk chirping like a metronome. Emily Cole said, "Are the bad people gone?" Ethan Cole said, "Some left, some learned, some wait." She squeezed his hand with the authority of 7. Emily Cole said, "Can we get ice cream after?" He smiled like a man who remembered sweetness. Lena Cole said, "We will meet you at 4. The promise fitted the day like a clean shirt. Ethan Cole said, "I will be there on time." The light turned green and felt like permission. That night, he printed a single page and slid it into an envelope. Ethan Cole said, "This is my ending and my beginning." The letter resigned from a job that already abandoned him. Lena Cole said, "Mail it and sleep." He sealed it with fingers that no longer shook. The room held a silence that did not accuse. Ethan Cole said, "It was worth it." The words landed without echo and stayed. A phone rang once in the dark, then chose silence.